Preference round conversation. Preference round conversation is especially intimate. You'll sense immediately when you enter the event there is a different mood. This is something special. The sorority member or members with whom you speak will want to tell you how unique, loyal, and tight the sisterhood is, what it's meant to her, and how it can have the same meaning to you. If you want to make things easier on the sorority woman, you'll give her the opportunity to switch gears from the superficial, introductory level conversation to talking about your deepest hopes and fears. The question is, how do we go from, "Hi, my name is," to, "What's your deepest fear, good friend?" Well, there are a number of ways. Try giving the sorority woman the opening so she can make the transition by mentioning the difference in the mood or environment. Perhaps her attire, her name tag, or the decor, or the general tone in the event. Some women might miss your cue. Okay, this is a good time for you to take the lead on shifting from light conversation to meaningful conversation. You can do so by saying something along the lines of, "So, it seems to me the sorority has grown to hold a special place in your heart. Is that right? I'm really interested in knowing more about that." Your goal is to connect with that woman based on her deepest hopes and fears, and the best way to make a very strong connection is to find out her deepest fears, then fully empathize with those feelings. See how this works for you, but don't force it. Remember that the sorority women have already decided they want to extend you a bid. This event is mostly about selling you on their sorority and its sisterhood. Here's a comment from a sorority member a few years ago. She's referring to preference events. Listen. "We shared our fears at preference night about our boyfriends graduating and moving away." She also mentioned a prospective member revealing her fears about being lonely in college. She said, "I feel like I'll be all alone. If I even just had you as a friend, it would be the sweetest thing ever." We both cried. Everyone in attendance at the event will be invited to enjoy a brief yet meaningful ceremony during which many sorority members are so touched they cry. Your job during this round is to enjoy what you're experiencing, allow your emotion to come through if you like, and participate in it naturally. For some women, this means tears. For others, it means no outward showing of emotion. You won't be judged or evaluated based on your emotional participation in the ceremony. Tips for every round. The best tool for selling something, including yourself, is finding an emotional connection, understanding someone's deepest fears, and then finding out how you can help allay those fears. No one can get you to buy unless you're convinced or pressured. You won't have a satisfying transaction unless you believe you're making a good choice. What is the sorority member's concern that relates directly to you? Maybe her fear is the new member class will diminish the reputation of the sorority on campus. Perhaps you should find out the sorority's worst case scenario for a potential new member. Maybe she's a terrible student, a foul-mouthed slacker, or worse, has some kind of substance abuse problem. Maybe her biggest fear is that you will choose another chapter. Once you've identified that biggest fear, consider spending more time asking her about her viewpoint so you can understand exactly what she means. Don't make the mistake of providing a laundry list of evidence depicting the reasons you are not the bad egg. Is it okay to tell her that this is your first choice chapter? Yeah, you can say that if it's the truth. Don't say it if it's not the truth, though, and definitely don't expect her to reciprocate. Panhellenic rules prevent women in sororities from indicating in any way that you will be receiving a bid, and putting one of them in the hot seat will not make you look good. You could communicate your interest in the sorority and in having a friendship with the sorority member. These subtle messages can pack a punch because they imply you're choosing not only the woman, but also her beloved sorority. By making her understand you see the value in her as well as in her sorority, she can more easily perceive you as a sister and influence her chapter to give you a bid. When a sorority member asks, "How is recruitment going for you?" you might respond with a smile, a pause, and then, "Great, I think I found my home," or "I think I found my sorority." Just be sure not to put the woman in an awkward position by making a statement that would invite a prohibited response. For example, avoid saying something like this: I know your sorority will be at the top of my list after preference events. If you hear this question, how is recruitment going for you, and you're not at a chapter of interest to you, you can still respond politely by indicating you're enjoying the experience. But if you're in a place where you still want to deliver your best impression, you would be wise to make it more personal as it relates to the specific chapter. Better yet, answer and then immediately ask a question like, "It's been great to have an opportunity to meet so many women on campus that I otherwise wouldn't. How is it different for you being on the sorority side of recruitment this year?" Nice question. You're demonstrating an interest in the woman and opening up the floor for her to express her opinion, which you value. She's beginning to like you a little bit more. What are some other ways you could advance this conversation? Can you use this question to mention any part of your brand? In response to the same question, you could say, "It's good. Meeting all of these women reminds me of the annual girls' basketball competitions, or choral conferences, or Girl Scout conventions, or insert your thing. I always made new friends and I sure loved it." Although you already have your strengths ready to go and understand how to weave them into conversation, you may still be wondering how you should handle those 3 hurdles. This is easier than you might think. You simply have to find the mitigating characteristic or experience you possess that will eliminate any concern about the hurdle. Our friend Sophia is a great example. She has had to sacrifice extracurricular activities to help her family members. While she knows that sorority members look for those activities, she also knows that with only 4 weeks left to recruitment, she can't invent a year on the tennis team. Instead, she determined which strength was most closely associated with her hurdle, and that was, she developed a great work ethic and has good leadership experience. She is resourceful. Remember that past history is the best indicator of future behavior. Sophia recognized that sorority members might misinterpret her lack of activities for lack of interest in those activities. Instead of leaving the mitigating work up to the work ethic counterargument that she created, Sophia did research on the college activities outside of the sorority she would like to join. This preparation enabled her to feel confident and excited for recruitment. Can you duplicate Sophia's efforts? Write down your hurdles, then determine 2 ways that you can diminish these items during the course of recruitment conversation. For each hurdle, write down what the hurdle is. Then, write down how one of your strengths extinguishes the hurdle. Then, write down how your future behavior will render the hurdle irrelevant.